Hello everyone, how are you doing today? I am Boy from Pattaneeya Tour, your guide for today. Are you excited for today's trip to Wat Yai Suwannaram in Phetchaburi? Before we get there, let me tell you briefly about the history of this temple. Wat Yai Suwannaram or Wat Noi Pak Tai was built back in Ayutthaya period. It was restored several times by His Holiness the Supreme Patriarch of Thailand, สมเด็จพระสังฆราชแตงโม Later, in the reign of King Rama V, there were a major restoration and also a new construction, which involved the galleries around the ordination hall, the merit-making hall, a pond, and also the wall to cover all of the area in this temple.Apart from that, in the reign of King Rama V, Wat Yai Suwannaram also was given the title by the king as one of the third-class royal temple. Wat Yai Suwannaram is the best example place for you to study about Ayutthaya art style. Here in this temple, you can study about art through building and painting in this temple.And before entering to the temple, I want to explain about a few rules for you to follow in order to behave appropriately. First, for both men and women, shorts, short skirt, no sleeve shirt or any tight clothing are not allowed to wear. Second, alcohol or cigarettes.are not allowed to smoke or drink in any area in this temple. Third, do not touch the Buddha image or the painting in any building. Next, before entering into any building, don't forget to take off your shoes and also don't step on the threshold, but you have to step over it instead. And lastly,As you can see in Thailand, the sunlight is very strong, so I really recommend you to apply sunscreen in order to protect your skin. And also, if you have a hat or an umbrella with you, you can use it as well. And if you are ready, so let's go.And now we have arrived at our destination. But before we go inside to see the ordination hall, let's take a quick look at the front of the gallery first. If we take a look at the gable, we will see the design of the number 5 in Thai tradition. The interesting fact about this design is the number 5 is actually in the reverse. If it.In the normal form, it will look like this. And it's in a reverse form because it has a meaning behind it. The reverse number 5 symbolizes the death of King Rama V, which means King Rama V would never come back to this temple ever again. There are 8 galleries.In total, but there is just one gallery that had the design of the reverse number 5 on the gable. And that's the first interesting fact. So now let's move on and go inside the gallery. And as you can see inside the gallery, there are lots of Buddha images. And these Buddha images are in the attitude of subduing mala.And now, let's move on to the main point, the ordination hall. And now we are standing in front of the ordination hall. The ordination hall is the most important and the most sacred place in the temple. This is where the religious ceremonies such as an ordination will be performed here. And if you ask,How can I identify which building in the temple is the ordination hall? The answer is here. This is a marker stone. As you can see, there are lots of them placed around this ordination hall. And if you take a closer look, you will see that here there are two slab marker stones, which indicate that this temple is a royal temple. If this temple is just a common temple, there will be only a marker stone. And now let me point out some others important exterior features of this ordination hall. This ordination hall made out of brick and stucco in Ayutthaya style. It has a lotus flower shaped pedestal that bends like Sampao Bow's bottom. And one unique feature about this ordination hall is that it has no window, which is not common for the ordination hall back in Ayutthaya period. The roof had two tiers, and the top finial called Shaofa represent the Garuda, and the lower finial called Hang Hong represent the head of the Naga, and the rich light teeth running along the edge called Bairaga represent the feather of the Garuda or the scale of the Naga. And the whole thing symbolizes the Garuda seizing the Naga, and this can be interpreted as good overcoming evils. And if we look closely at the bottom of the finial, we will see that it has the figure of the Deva on it. And the gable is decorated with colored glasses mosaic. And if we take a closer look at the gable of the entrance, we will see that the gable has the design of the Garuda, and the gable of the back has the design of God Nairarita mounted on Raksasa. This design of the decoration of the ordination hall's gable was very common during the middle and the late Ayutthaya period. They would place the figure of God Nairarita mounted on Raksasa to decorate the gable of the waist and pair with the figure of God Vishnu mounted on Garuda to decorate the gable of the eaves. This ordination hall's gable has followed that design, but slightly different when the gable of the east only has the Garuda figure. And before getting inside, let's take a quick look at the entrance. And as you can see, there are 3 entrances. Back in Ayutthaya period, they built the middle door to be the entrance for God and Goddess to pay homage to the principal Buddha image. And now, let's go inside. And the first thing we see right away is the principal Buddha image. This is a seated Buddha image in the attitude of subduing Mara. We can identify this attitude by looking at the posture of the hands, which the right hand is on the right knee with 4 fingers pointing to the ground, while left hand raised in the lap. This principal Buddha image made of brick and stucco, which was lacquered and gilded. Apart from the principal Buddha image, there are other interesting Buddha images, like this one. This Buddha image has 6 toes and called หลวงพ่อหงนิ้ว. This Buddha image is believed to be able to grant a wish for believers and also to have rains come accurately according to their season. Since Thailand is an agricultural country, so rain is very important to help crops grow. This image is also very special because this image is not a Buddha image, but it is the image of His Holiness the Supreme Patriarch of Thailand, สมเด็จพระสังฆราชแตงโม, the person who I have mentioned earlier, who helped restore this temple several times back in Ayutthaya period. Now let's look around and we will see that there are paintings on the walls. These paintings were painted by talented Pechaburi artists back in Ayutthaya period. And in the reign of King Rama V, the king himself has stated that this painting must be more than 300 years old. So for our time now, this painting will be more than 400 years old. And if you take a closer look at the painting on the left side and on the right side of the walls, we will see that the painting portray about the gathering of God and Goddess and also inhuman creatures such as Hanuman and giants. But the painting on the back of the entrance portray about the scene when the goddess of the earth wriggling the water of the merit out of her hair to draw Mala and his army away in order to protect the Buddha. And this is just the first place that we have visited. There are some other fascinating places that we are going to visit next. But for now, I'll let you explore more about the painting and pay homage to the Buddha images. Don't forget about the rules that I have told you earlier, so please enjoy.